I'm Heather Fleming, founder of In Purpose Educational Services and author of the book, My Black Friend Says.
And I'm Delaney Ray, the coordinator of the LEAP Institute. So what do we do now, Heather?
Same thing we've always done, Delaney. Keep fighting for an equitable world.
This time in a podcast.
Welcome to the Listen, Learn, Love podcast, where comfortable friends chat about uncomfortable topics.
Let's do it. So, Heather, do you remember when I first joined on to In Purpose and we would be having meetings where we were supposed to talk about business, yet we would always end up having these amazing topical conversations?
I do, and I remember it being filled with a lot of information and laughter. And even if it was a tough subject, we would just have, I don't want to say have fun, but because we trusted one another and we knew our intent, it ended up being a conversation that helped me to continue to grow.
And I loved that sometimes we'd have these conversations and then afterwards we realized in the keeping with In Purpose's purpose of training people and educating people, some of the conversations we were having, we realized had really good educational material in them, if only there was some way we could allow others to listen to these conversations we were having.
Yeah, so that's why I loved when you brought up the idea of us having a podcast. It just seemed perfect, a perfect way for us to just be able to impart this information and to show people, really demonstrate to people that even if it's a difficult topic, it doesn't have to be a difficult conversation.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the difference between approaching a conversation with humility and saying, I may have messed this up or I don't understand this, sets the tone for having a really good conversation that could otherwise turn into hurt feelings or an argument.
Right. Like I tell people all the time in my training that this is a journey that we're on, and it's a journey of learning and discovery. And so when you're on that, you're going to mess up. As a matter of fact, if in my book, I say, if you haven't messed up, then you're not doing it right. Everyone is going to make mistakes. And so it's just about learning from those mistakes, continuing to learn information. And the other thing is that this journey is not a solo journey. We are successful when it comes to equity and when it comes to inclusion, when we engage openly with other people. And so that's what I always loved about our conversations, is the fact that we were engaging with one another. And I just think about everything you've, taught me that I didn't know about parts of your culture, parts of your experience. And that's just something that I hope can be shared with other people as they listen to our podcast.
Well, and from my end, having read your book, My Black Friend Says, before starting to work with you and having these conversations, I already knew that you came from a place where it doesn't do good to shame people when having these difficult conversations. Shame and attack doesn't help people learn. And so that I really appreciated that aspect of your book, pointing out that we don't get better by falling into our own shame when we make mistakes.
Or by subjecting other people to shame, because in the end, the first thing to keep in mind is that we're all on the same side. And so that's what the other part that's cool about when we talk is that our conversation is built around, being two friends that know we're on the same side. And so when we make a mistake, when we do something wrong, it's not about shaming each other. It's about what can we learn from this and how can we grow from this?
And that trust and respect opens up the door to have these conversations and for it to be comfortable.
Really, because I feel like I can talk to you just about anything on good days and on bad days. And so I'll be honest, there's parts of our conversations that I'm glad aren't recorded.
Would you care to tell us what those are right now?
Absolutely not, Delaney. So But the parts that do end up being recorded, I hope that they can serve as, just an example for people, and that they can teach people, too, as much as as we're talking, as much as we're teaching one another and really helping each other to grow, that maybe by having them recorded, we can also help other people as well.
And I hope to normalize conversations, to normalize the process of having conversations. In one of our very first episodes, I admit a mistake that I made, and I'm hoping to normalize admitting mistakes without, again, getting lost in either shaming yourself or shaming others.
I think that's true. And, as someone who has been doing this work for years, I often find myself in the position of being like the ultimate conveyor of knowledge. And I hope to normalize the fact that even with people who are in this teaching, we're also learning. This should be a continuous learning process. And so, again, I learned so much from you just from these conversations. And I just want to normalize the fact that, yes, no matter how far you're into this work, how long you've been doing it, there's always something new to learn and to grow and to develop. And so normalizing that process as well.
Normalizing it and learning how to inject this into every day. This, doesn't have to be something that's planned ahead and done only in controlled circumstances. Allowing people to learn how to have these conversations in all of their realms of influence, whether it's around the water cooler at work or in Bible study at church or just in with a group of friends having margaritas. Well, post-COVID. I know you were like, girl, I know you're not drinking margaritas and going to church right now.
You know me well. So, yes. And the fact that they don't have to be these tense, oppositional conversations, that they can be just like you said, a normalized part of our daily conversations. Like when we begin to talk about stuff, sometimes it's like, just like we're talking about, hey, did you see the latest movie? Did you see this on Netflix? And we have a shared love of Hallmark Christmas movies. So did you see this one? That was a great movie. Oh yeah, by the way, I like that it addressed issues of equity. I like that it had a diverse cast. So there's things that you can notice about every aspect in life, and it doesn't have to be a tense conversation. And so that was what our goal was, as we say. We want people to join us for a comfortable conversation between friends about sometimes uncomfortable topics.
Absolutely.
So we're ready to do this.
Let's do it.
Hope you guys get a chance to check out the Listen, Learn, Love podcast and to see exactly what we're talking about. Thanks for listening to this episode. You can support us on Patreon by looking for the Listen, Learn, Love podcast, or follow us on Facebook and Instagram at InPurposeES. That is INPurposeES. You can also follow us on Twitter at InPurposeEA, or visit our website at www.inpurposeea.com.
Heather, this was great. Do you want to do it again next week?
I sure do, Delaney.
Awesome. Talk to you then.
Bye.